John Fredericks, America's Godzilla of Truth. He's popular and proficient in picking politics with prophetic precision. And now J. Fred's picking sports. Are y'all ready for this? All across the airwaves and streams of the John Fredericks Media Network, John, Jack, and Nate, three guys that are pretty wise when it comes to picking winners. Football, basketball, baseball, soccer, golf, UFC battles, you name it. When the game is on your mind and money's on the line, Godzilla Wins is your guide to picking winners. Before you make that play, hear what J. Fred has to say. Godzilla Wins on the John Fredericks Media Network.
Oh yeah, for entertainment purposes only.
Everyone, and welcome to the Godzilla Wins Saturday Pick Show. I'm your host, Jack Fredericks, here with my father, the Godzilla of Truth, John Fredericks, and senior editor to GodzillaWins.com, Nate Perry. We are super pumped for this show today. We're going to add a little variety as we head into championship week for college football. We're going to throw in a little college basketball as that's starting to heat up a little bit. December and January are always fun months to talk a little NCAA men's basketball. So we're going to do a little bit of that at the beginning of the show. We're going to be joined by Dan Angel to talk both college basketball and all the championship matchups, maybe do a little Washington reaction. A lot of people on this site nailed that win. So we're always happy to see the Huskies get a W when everybody else can get a W, except me. I chose Oregon because I can't ever get it right. We'll talk the championship games until the top of the hour. Then we'll switch to the NFL. It's bye week in the NFL. That means a lot of teams are off, so we have a lot of time to talk about a bunch of different teams. 13 games, 13 matchups, 13 picks. We'll be joined by James Tillman III for the first 30 minutes of that from 9 to 9:30 Eastern time. And then from 9:30 to 10, we'll talk to Pittsburgh Steelers beat writer for GodzillaWins.com, Mitch Rogers. Hey, listen, if you're not going to GodzillaWins.com, you need to be doing it and doing it quickly. We got a new feature up called the Godzilla Wins Daily Picks. If you go straight to the site, you go to GodzillaWins.com and you click on the Daily Picks bar at the top after home, it'll show you all of our expert picks for the day. So you can keep up with not just the analysis, which of course we have going every day, but just the overall general picks for anyone who is interested. Go to GodzillaWins.com and look at those daily picks. GodzillaWins.com and all its subsidiaries are for entertainment purposes only. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Michigan, Nebraska, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. 800-327-5050. Visit gamblinghelpline-ma.org. In Massachusetts, call 877-G-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY to 467-369 in New York. 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona. 1-800-522-4700 in Kansas, New Hampshire. 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa or visit opgr.org in Oregon. Glad to see everybody here on the show. How's everybody doing?
Super. Got a lot of winners coming. I had a great 7 days. 16-3 in college and pro football since last Saturday. Nailed the winner last night. Washington plus 9.5. Said they were going to win the whole game. Should have bet the money line, but cash a ticket. So I'm hot. I've been on fire, guys. So I hope you guys can hang with me. Do your best. Try to hang with me, and I'll be very nice to you all because I know I'm tough to compete with. But I got winners coming out to Wazoo.
Yeah. We'll talk about that money line because somebody else on here actually did have Washington money line because he was not afraid of that
Smart
bet.
bet.
Nate, this is a big win for you.
You're going to bet the underdog. You got to think they have a chance to win, right, John?
Yeah, that's why I bet Washington State, but I don't bet money lines because I'd rather win the bet. That's my philosophy. I only bet the money line if it's the favorite. I don't want to lay 3 or something. But Washington. I knew they were going to win that game. They played a great
and you
game.
should have bet the money line if you knew they were going to win. You should have bet the money line.
I don't do that. I took the 9.5, and the game was never in doubt. Maybe after Oregon scored 21 in a row, maybe it was a little, okay, what's going to happen? Another turnover. But other than that, the game was never in doubt if you took the 9.5.
I on last Sunday in my turkey malaise misread the spread and thought Oregon was +9, and then I bet Oregon. So that was a terrific searing analysis there by me misreading another spread. So I was locked into Oregon all week. I didn't think they were going to cover a 9-point spread. That felt like Vegas just baiting us, I guess, to take Oregon. But I mean, Wisconsin or Washington has been up and down. They were able to escape Oregon yesterday, and we'll see what happens in these in the college football playoff. I would assume that they're going to get in, but you never know. A lot of stuff can happen right at the end there. Dad, we also want to give you an opportunity to talk about the Cal Golden Bears, because other than having just an incredible week last weekend, you absolutely nailed the Cal win there. So I don't know if you want to take a minute just to maybe give everybody a little bit more context behind this incredible W.
Well, listen, I that's another super underdog. That was my best bet of the week. I told you guys, I think I got 6.5.
1 of 3.
I knew they were going to win the game. That actually on DraftKings, Nate, I did bet the money line along with taking this, I think 6.5. But I only bet like $20 on it. But I got like 4-1 or 380 to 1 or something. But look, I knew they were going to win that game. Not because they're that great of a football team, although they are better than people have seen on paper, and I think they're going to win their bowl game as well. But I knew UCLA was done. They beat USC. Chip Kelly's leaving. The whole team's falling apart. The Pac-12's over. We're not going to get in the Pac-12 championship. They won their big game against USC, who's had all kinds of problems. I saw a letdown coming. I saw it all. And that's why I thought the Cal Bears last night were my best bet, and it was a blowout. That game was over in the first half. I was counting my money. So these are the kind of things I get hot at the end of the season, because these are the trends I look for, and I try to bet letdowns, right? I do it in baseball. That's how I survive there. It's tough to win. And I had one big letdown hockey game, NHL, which – same thing. I just look for letdowns. I bet the Blues 2 nights ago against Buffalo. They won a tough game in New York, beating the Rangers in the Garden. They're not that good of a team. They go to St. Louis. One night later, I just could see them not winning that game. Blues win it. So, look, we got to stick with some trends here. But right now, I'm on a roll.
Well, you're 1-1 in NHL. So let's pump the brakes on the hockey touts there. But I'm glad you got a W in the NHL. Yeah, we're on a roll. So, and look, I mean, this feature that we've been working on in Godzilla Wins, this daily picks feature. Really, we are hoping can take the website to the next level. For those of you who have been listening to the show for a year and a half now, I mean, we started this thing about a year and a half ago as a blog. We actually hired, I think, our first writer. And then, Dan, I think we hired you to start writing for us shortly thereafter. It's coming up on about a year of having, enough money to just pay writers. So we're excited to be able to build out the site a little bit more and continue to grow the company in ways that we think would be fun for both our writers and our readers. So, you can do that as well in there. Dan, I want to get you involved here. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, so I'm going to throw it out there. You could just tell me no, and we can move on to some other stuff. I'm not sure. I know you're in Hawaii, but I don't know I don't think you're in Maui. So I was going to ask you about the Maui Invitational. I don't know if you're able to go to those games or just maybe like a little extra locked in, or if you've covered any of them just for other websites, because that tournament is so, I don't know. I mean, this time of year, right? It's like all the best teams down there. Oh, Dan, I think you're on mute.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. Actually, I was covering the Maui Invitational. Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
I was
So,
there for the Indianapolis
tell us a little
Star.
bit about that. Yeah, tell us about that experience. I mean, that must be fun, right?
So, despite the name, the Maui Invitational was actually here on Oahu in Honolulu, because the Civic Center in Maui is still not ready for basketball. They're still using it for disaster relief efforts after the wildfires. So for this year only, they moved it to UH's campus. So I basically spent 3 days covering Purdue, watching every other game. And there was also a Hawaii game thrown in there, which caused me to get locked out of the parking garage because the organizers of the Maui Invitational didn't think that anyone who was there for those 4 games would actually want to stay for Hawaii, Northern Arizona. But here I am. So, yeah, it was a pretty awesome experience. I mean, pretty much every fan base absolutely showed up and was boisterous throughout. And that championship game for Purdue and Marquette was an excellent, well-played game from both sides. And seeing Lance Jones hit a 75-footer at the buzzer in the first half right in front of me, that was just crazy to see live.
Yeah, that's got to be insane to see live. Are there give us like I guess if you watch a lot of Purdue, maybe your biggest 2 or 3 takeaways from Purdue or just any other team that maybe people who are just now kind of starting to pay attention to basketball might benefit from.
Yeah, I mean, Purdue, obviously they took a tough loss. I guess it is last night. Now it's 3 a.m. here, and I've been moving all day, so I'm a little bit off as far as my time goes. But Purdue took an overtime loss to Northwestern, but this is still a really good, really cohesive unit that seems to understand what they're going to have to do in March. The question is, are they going to be able to get through those early round games that have been this team's Achilles heel? Because they handled 3 powerhouses while they were here on the islands, but it hasn't been the powers that have tripped up Purdue. It's been the St. Peter's, the Fairleigh Dickinsons who have caused their downfall. So if Purdue can get to that Sweet 16 Elite 8 level, then this team's going to be really dangerous, but they've got to get past that early game. So Marquette looks like they're for real. It honestly looked like they were going to get blown out in their first game against UCLA. UCLA might be better than people think. UCLA played really well that night. Actually, I texted Amy on that last game the first day. I might be home fairly early if UCLA pulls away here. Marquette then pulls off, I think, a 17-0 run, and I just text her back, UCLA did not pull away.
Yeah, that's I'm jealous. That tournament would be so much fun to go to. All those great teams down there, competing. This is, I love, and we're going to talk a little college basketball here just a minute. We'll get y'all's picks for maybe today or tomorrow. But I love this time of year watching college basketball. I love the SEC, ACC matchup thing that they had going on all week. That produced a lot of really fun games. I had a lot of fun watching. I don't know if you guys caught Arkansas Duke a couple nights ago. Arkansas upset Duke, and I don't know. Musselman's always kind of a fun coach to watch. He just puts such a competitive team on the court. It doesn't matter who they're playing. And then I didn't really realize how
toward the stands in the NCAA tournament last year when I first started here at Godzilla Wins. I think right a couple weeks before I got hired was when I started covering Penn State in the Big Ten tournament and the NCAA tournament. So some of the first few articles that I was writing here, at the same time, I was also in Des Moines covering Penn State in the NCAA tournament. Arkansas played Kansas, saw him the other half of that doubleheader. So saw Musselman head into the stands, saw him to yell with his fans.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember when you were doing that, and I remember that game. So there's been kind of a lot of really, really fun college basketball going on. And one thing that I really want us to focus on Godzilla Wins in the future is men's basketball. It's just there's so much opportunity to write about the different games. And
there's 362 teams, and there's often a lot of value in the small schools that most people aren't going to think about.
I think you're right there. I think there's a ton of value in those. I've been trying to cover some of the bigger games, and it's just so tough. Even I don't know if you guys watched the Kansas UConn game last night, which was a lot of fun to watch. But I had UConn plus 2.5, and they lost by 4 on 2 free throws that they fouled Kansas with the second left.
That one, your process was right. Kansas is not where they need to be yet. That was another team that I saw down here, and it's clear that they're not where Bill Self expects them to be. He even said it a few times, both on and off the record, that they've got a ways to go. But Kansas has certainly shown some improvement since the Islands. But yeah, you should have been right on that one.
Yeah, and that's what's tough about college basketball. I mean, that my process on that game, which I wrote about, was basically that Kansas just doesn't really shoot the three ball very well, and UConn does, and there's just not going to be as much opportunity for the big guys to score because they have two. Both teams have a game changing seven footer, and the problem was Kansas started hitting threes at the end of the game, so it's like, oh, of course, all of a sudden, they get a couple big threes from the corner, and then even then you're down. That's why college basketball is so funny, because I'm down, so there's 10 seconds left. Kansas misses both free throws. UConn's down 2. UConn gets the rebound. I got 2.5. I'm thinking, okay, I don't have any worst case scenarios. Like, UConn's going to shoot a 3. They're going to try to win. They're not going to try to go to overtime because they're on the road. So either they miss the 3 at the buzzer and I win by the hook, or they make the 3 and I win. But the only scenario that happens is they panic, give it to a wide open Spencer, who is the coldest shooter of the night. He bricks it with 2 seconds left. They immediately foul, and then Kansas sinks both free throws, and I lose the bet. So I don't know. College basketball, it's a really funny.
That is the toughest thing. That is the toughest thing about playing college basketball is fouls at the end change the outcome of so many games. And just like you said, I remember one day, I think it was you or your brother, but we were at home, and I think it was you, and I had like an 8-game like college basketball parlay was for like, I don't know, for like $50. And of course, 18 parlay, it's like thousands of dollars. And I won the first 7 games. We're watching the final game. I don't even know who was playing. And I was going to win the game. And some guy at the buzzer, right, as a going down 3 quarters, jacks up, end of the game, just jacks it up. Meaningless shot, it goes in, I lose. And it was like thousands of dollars. So, I mean, that's the thing about college basketball. Crazy things happen at the end.
Well, and the lines are so sharp, especially for the big games, that it's an adrenaline rush when you're in the middle of it, but the value really is in those games that take a little bit of searching.
The value is
the
in
cable.
The value is in the lower conference games, and having gone to college at Fairleigh Dickinson, where the biggest game of the season was Monmouth College, right? I mean, you get a little bit of a different feel. Mom went to Delaware. Every 2 decades, they make the tournament. She stays home and watches it at like 10 a.m. or something. So when you go to smaller
FPS,
I think since I've been with her 30 years, I think they made it twice, maybe 3 times. But every time they play it like 10:30 in the morning, some place, because they're the 16th, they're the 64th team in, or 63rd team in, or something. So or the 16th seed, wherever it is. So it's like the 10 a.m. game. But when you go to college in these tiny conferences, unlike you guys that went to now an SEC school, Dan, and for Joe, Miss, and Nate, Nevada. I mean, Jack. But you go to these little conferences, it's just different basketball because you don't get the players. So the lines are not going to be as sharp, to what Jack said earlier. You get these big games, these big conferences, the lines are very sharp. These guys, these bookmakers, man, they know what they're doing, and they are very tight. Get to some of these smaller conferences, little known teams, playing D1 ball. You can really find some value there if you take the time.
Well, I think the lines are sharp with some of those smaller teams. I just think there's more value because I think the line movement often moves in the wrong way because people don't understand as much about what they're betting on in those smaller games. So, the line movement can be kind of crazy. And if you are like, someone like Dan, who spends a lot of time watching college basketball and spends a lot of time, running some of these models, you can find a lot of that value. Same thing with college football. We've talked about that a lot, Dan, this season, where some of the best value college football games are the ones that nobody's watching. So it's kind of tough because you you want to have some fun with the biggest games of the year, but at the same time, if you want to make money, you kind of have to have a holistic view of the sport.
I'll enjoy Washington and Oregon. I'll enjoy Eastern Washington, Portland State just as much.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nate, I know Nate.
The money spends the same.
There.
Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's right. The money spends the same. So, speaking of money, let's talk a little college basketball. We'll throw in some quick picks before we get to the championship games. The way I did the run sheet, guys, I had the Pac-12 championship in there because I couldn't fathom that a conference would have their championship on a Friday night. And then Dan reminded me that they play Friday night championship games and stuff. So we have a little bit of time. Maybe we probably have 5 minutes to do some quick picks. But Dad, before we get into that, this would be a good time to tell our listeners about DraftKings, how they can get involved in the greatest promo in the history of promo codes there at DraftKings and bet a little.
I don't know
college
why
basketball.
you're not at DraftKings. If you're in a state that allows it, it is really the best website, the best app as far as I'm concerned. And the bonuses they put up every day, I don't use them every day because a lot of them are parlays. But a lot of times you get like, hey, bet this game, you get a 50% profit boost. I mean, that's if you do those consistently, I mean, there's pretty good value there, and it's kind of fun. And you just click on it, go right to the game. But all you have to do is go to DraftKings.com. They've been with us since they really started in Virginia. They've been a very loyal customer of ours, and they're great people. Just go to DraftKings.com, download their free app, put it in your phone, put it in your tablet, whatever you got. When you sign up, put in promo code Godzilla. That's promo code Godzilla. Guess what happens? You're going to get $200 instantly in free bets for a $5 bet. So if you look in your wallet right now, you know you got $5 in there. As bad as the economy is for some, you got $5. You go to Starbucks, it's going to be $5. You go to Dunkin' Donuts. Hey, somebody bought a Big Mac. It went viral, right? Big Mac Coke fries, $16 somewhere, California. Something. You got $5. Put $5 in your
It's not even
account.
$16
Take that $5.
here.
What?
It's
$16,
not even
right?
$16 here.
I don't know. Somebody went to San Francisco and it was a
It's
Big
like
Mac.
$11 here, and Hawaii is more expensive than anywhere else.
Listen, I just the guy showed the
It's
receipt.
$5 for a
But
cup of
we're
coffee.
going off track. You got $5. Put it in DraftKings. Bet any of the games that we picked today. Just bet $5. You're going to get $200 in instant free bets, win or lose, as soon as you put the bet in. So they're giving you $200 to play with. So have some fun. You can bet $10 a game. You can bet parlays. Rich Paxton, he loves to bet parlays. You got all that going on. Just go to DraftKings.com. DraftKings.com. Download their app. Put in promo code Godzilla, $5, and you're good to go. $200 in free bets instantly. Now, if you got a gambling problem, you want to call the Gambling Problem Hotline at 888-532-3500 or anyone that you know. But just remember, a fin gets you $200 in free bets. So you're going to have $205 to play with for $5. Promo code Godzilla.
Shout out to Rich Paxton, one of our he's been a ride or die
Day
Godzilla
one.
wins picks.
He's been here
since day one.
He just chided me on Getter. He's like, hey, I thought you don't bet parlays. I don't anymore. Back in the day, I did. Now I don't. Just because I try to manage this out for the season. I get so much money to put in, and it's tough. It's tough putting more money in. So I try to manage it out to get through the season. But yeah. But I did have that 8-game
gone are the days.
parlay one day. Lost.
Yeah, gone are the days where I'm sitting in a Walmart parking lot while you're on the phone with your associate, putting quite a bit of money in action. While I'm like, I just want to go home.
That was back. That was back in the day. That was a different time in my life.
Yeah, different economy back then.
Everything was different.
So let's talk a little college basketball here. Dan, we'll start with you. Couple picks here, Dan. Maybe just some quick one-offs for college basketball, kind of go around the horn. I think everybody's got a couple. But Dan, if there's one or two that you really like today, and then we'll move on to football.
Yeah, so the pick that I'm really looking at that I really like is Illinois Rutgers under 136.5. Piscataway, New Jersey is the place where offense goes to die. It doesn't matter if it's football or basketball. Offense just does not make it out of Rutgers alive. Like last year, I made an absolute killing betting Rutgers basketball unders, and I've already pulled off a couple wins on Rutgers unders this year. So 136.5. I don't think that either of those teams are getting there. So yeah, I really like that number. On the other side of the coin, I don't think this line is officially out yet, so this is one to watch for when it does go live. But North Florida and High Point, I think the number is going to be set at around 154, and these teams can get there. North Florida, one of their nicknames that their social marketing department is used is the Birds of Trey because they love to shoot the three ball. High Point plays at a very fast pace, so these teams are going to be running up and down the floor, and I think that as long as North Florida is hitting their threes, this one looks very doable. On the other side of Jacksonville, I've got the Jacksonville Dolphins. I don't think this line is up yet, but money line against Georgia Southern. This is a rare rematch of two teams that are in different conferences. Jacksonville already whacked Georgia Southern by 17 earlier this year. It was at Swisher Gym, and Jacksonville is virtually unbeatable at Swisher Gym. So it does scare me a little bit that this one is in Statesboro, but I don't think it's a 17-point difference moving to Georgia Southern's home court. So I'm going to ride with the Dolphins here on the money line.
Look, nothing against Statesboro, but having grown up in Georgia and spent a lot of time in the state, I can tell you. I mean, I don't think it's going to be. I don't think Statesboro going to.
I don't either, but it's more Jacksonville. Jacksonville's not a great road team, but like over the past 2.5 seasons, basically betting Jacksonville at home has been almost automatic. Like I think they've been like 25 and 3 money line at home.
That's incredible. Yeah. And you're right about Rutgers too. I mean, it's one of those teams, right? Just an amazing defense. That's how they win games. And one of their best shooters transferred to UConn. So, they're looking for answers on the offensive side.
Dan, have you ever actually been to Piscataway, New Jersey?
I have driven through it, but have not been able to spend any time there yet.
The rack is a great.
That's it.
No,
it's off of 280. It's off of 287.
Dump.
It's one exit off 287. It's a total dump.
I've been to a lot of places that can probably be described as a dump more than Piscataway can.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fine, and the rack is like an awesome place to watch.
I'd love to see a game.
They have a good, they have a great basketball tradition in Rutgers. Nate, you want to fire off a couple picks?
Yeah, I got a couple picks. First pick that I've sort of been thinking about this morning quite a bit is Syracuse versus Virginia. Syracuse is getting 11 points now. I don't know why. Like I know why, and it's because everyone's down on Syracuse. This is the first year without Jim Boeheim. Obviously, the 2-3 zone is gone, and they sort of suck.
They do.
I guess is like the big reason that everyone's down on them. But I guess like I look at it and I think, well, yeah, like you're always going to be terrible offensively when one of your best players, former 5-star recruit, is 1 for 18 to start the season from 3. But that just doesn't feel like it's indicative of him staying cold forever. At some point, he'll heat up. So I'm more optimistic about the Orange than many. And I also like Virginia Cavaliers have the 102nd ranked offense on KenPom right now. I don't know how they can pull away by 11 against a Syracuse team that's got to be due for some regression in terms of shooting. So I like Syracuse here. That's sort of my number one play of the day. Just kind of quickly, I guess, just to run down a couple others. Like Drexel plus 12 against Villanova. I like Furman plus 8 against Princeton. I like Cal pick against Santa Clara, and I like Washington plus the points against Colorado State. Nobody's giving the Huskies any credit in basketball right now. So that kind of is my nightcap game, I guess.
Yeah, neither in football either. I don't know. The Cuse are, they beat LSU by like 1,000. They got their shooting right earlier in the week. You think that might translate? And look, Virginia doesn't like to beat anyone by 11. Like the wins a lot. Like Virginia, they're super comfortable beating everyone by 2 points. They don't care that, they play slow, methodical. They play that defense. They get those inside points. But, I mean, they don't – if you watch Virginia basketball, it's not like they go on 12-0 runs. If they do, it takes an hour and a half. So,
yeah.
One thing about Syracuse, that was another team that I saw here. They they are way too quick to get their shots off. Like they rush
Yeah.
it way too much, and that could really hurt against Virginia.
Yeah, it can, because they'll just control the ball all game long. So we'll see. That they're an interesting team, Nate. Syracuse. I haven't been able to figure them out. I mean, I was on the wrong side of the LSU thing. I was down on them. So we'll see today. All right, Dad. I know you're ready to go.
So I
Throw
just
off a
got
couple
one winner
winners
here,
for
but
us.
let me just promote our new feature on our site, which I don't want to make any light of, which we did a lot of work on. It took us a long time to get this done. I want to give a shout out to our tech guru, Scott Harlan, did a great job on it. But if you go to GodzillaWins.com, there's a feature there now, right up the top, daily picks. So if you're listening to this show and you're trying to write them down, once you go to daily picks every day, you're going to see all of us, right? Dan, Nate, Jack, me, all of our picks are going to be there. You can just click on it, see it. Also, there's a leaderboard, there's a scoreboard. So if I'm, 2-1 in college basketball or 3-2, it's going to be right there. All the past games are there. So everybody's going to get logged in. But this is a really, really fun feature. And as we go forward, I'm going to just tease this in the next couple months. We're going to get it to where we can have our audience come in and make their own picks, get a handle and everything else so we can see it. But right now, just go to Godzilla Wins Daily Picks. It's all going to be there. Mine aren't up yet today, but they'll be up. And of course, I do my quick picks feature every day where you can follow me there. I like one college basketball game today. I like Marquette +3 going to Wisconsin. This team is averaging 81 points a game in big conference college basketball. It's not very easy to do. I don't know how long this is going to last. Well, the Badgers are always tough in Wisconsin. I mean, both are in Wisconsin. The Badgers are always tough at home. I like Marquette here with the 3. I think this game really should be more like pick 'em. I think it's going to go down to the wire. So I'm going to take the 3 here with Marquette, and I'll put that up after the show on our daily picks wire that you can see it there.
Yeah. So Dad, I think Marquette's -3.
-3.
I'm sorry. -3 at Wisconsin.
But you still like Marquette.
-3. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
So we got to get to football here in a minute. I'll throw off I guess 2 that I kind of like really quickly. Georgia Tech like +12.5 against Duke. I just didn't think Duke looked that good, and Georgia Tech had a big upset against Mississippi State. So I mean, it's a big spread there. And then the other game I kind of like. I mean, I guess I could talk maybe for just a couple seconds about Gonzaga, USC. I guess I kind of like the under in that game. I think a lot of people like the over. I think the point total is like one off my top of my head, like 147. And I don't know. USC's so tall. They have a lot of big men, and I think Gonzaga is going to be forced to shoot a lot, which is fine. I mean, they can shoot, but not as well as they'd rather score inside. And so I don't know. A lot of people like the over here because both these teams score. I mean, Gonzaga scores, but this is kind of a weird matchup. So I kind of like the under in that game, but we'll see about that. Big fan of the 12.5 on Georgia Tech. I just don't think Georgia Tech can win the game, but 12.5 is a lot for a Georgia Tech team that looked really good against Mississippi State. Before we get into the college football, and we'll run through some of these conference championships pretty quickly. We're all locked into football. We've been doing that all year long. Every morning I wake up and I pour myself some Beard Vet coffee. This is some of the best coffee that you can get on the market. And I need everyone who's listening, who likes our show, likes our website, and wants to support us to go to beardvet.com. That's beardvet.com. Promo code Godzilla gets you 10% off all of your coffee and beard needs. I'm the only one here on the show with a beard, although maybe I should start shaving it because I'm starting to get a bunch of white in my beard, which is a little concerning at my age. But I don't know. I like it. I actually kind of like the white, but I bet Beard Vet has something to maybe help me keep it groomed. I'm not the most well-groomed person in the world. So you go to beardvet.com. That's beardvet.com. And promo code Godzilla get you 10% off. I love their coffee. You get the K-cups, you get the whole bean, just the grounds. It comes really quickly. Some really incredible stuff that they got going on there. And it's reasonably priced, pretty cheap. And with that 10% off, you basically knock off the shipping. So if you're worried about, hey, I can get coffee up the street. Why do I need to ship it? Well, with GodzillaWins.com, with the promo code, all that 10% off, that just gets rid of it. So go to beardvet.com. That's beardvet.com. Promo code Godzilla. All your coffee needs. Hey, Christmas is coming up. They make good
Yeah,
stocking
look at
stuffers.
it's a great stocking stuffer. Put that
That's
beard
right.
vet in, baby. You're gonna love it.
So let's move through some of these championship games. We don't have to do the Pac-12. We got 30 minutes for a bunch of them. We'll start with the ACC championship, and I want to remind our audience: go to GodzillaWins.com for pretty much every big championship game. I think Dan wrote up almost every game for us, at least the big ones, and then I know he wrote up an American one as well. Dan, your SEC championship pick did huge numbers yesterday. I'm talking like really, really massive numbers. So great job on that. And then a couple of days ago, the Pac-12 championship also took off. So those championship picks, you've done a really nice job. People seem to really be responding to. I mean, you're a terrific writer anyway, but I just wanted to let you know that those have been doing really, really strong numbers. Was really impressed to see that. So we'll start with the ACC. Dan, we'll start with you since you wrote about it here. What do you see in the ACC championship?
Yeah, so I mean the ACC, the biggest question is what is Florida State going to look like in this game? Because Seminoles did not look impressive last time out in surviving, really is the best word for it, against Florida. And I really don't like either team in this situation. I think the under is probably the way to go because both of these offenses have serious flaws. So I think you throw in a little bit of rain in the Charlotte area. I don't think the field's going to be in that great of shape. So I think Florida State will find a way because it's not a very big spread, but the under looks like the best play to me.
Nate, you're a big weatherman guy, especially there in the East Coast. You like that underplay. Florida State's -1, so you don't have to lay a lot if you like the Seminoles.
Yeah, taking a little bit of my bit there. I was going to talk about the weather and the under. I think that Dan's right. Looks like maybe a chance of rain in North Carolina, maybe 60% chance of precipitation in Charlotte today. So yeah, I think definitely the under's the play, not just from a weather perspective, but also because Dan's right, and this sort of goes into my handicapping as well a little bit. Is Florida State does not look good on offense. There seems to be they're saying game time decision is the latest thing I heard for Rodemaker, who had to exit last week's game after taking a big hit. So that leaves either an injured Rodemaker or a Brock Glenn, who's really only taken a handful of snaps this season, to play quarterback for Florida State. So things are just getting worse at the quarterback position for them. So I think they're going to have a hard time scoring. Louisville, for all of its sort of yardage stats, a lot of their offensive stats look really good, but they don't finish a ton of drives. They seem to sort of stall out and don't get the points maybe they should. So I think under's a good play. That being said, I also like Louisville here +1. I mean, I just don't see how you can bet on Florida State here with the quarterback issues they're having and the sort of offensive issues they're having. I'm willing to forgive them for lose. I'm willing to forgive Louisville for losing to Kentucky last week and blowing that big lead. I mean, that took some unbelievable throws.
I'm not. That ruined my parlay.
but yeah, I like Louisville here. Louisville and the under. 2 picks.
Yeah.
Had
Go
a
ahead.
7-game money line parlay, and Louisville blew it for me.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
Yeah, tough one. No question about it. Look, I'm with Nate here for Louisville. I'm not a Louisville fan. I bet against them last week, won that bet. But I can't bet a team that doesn't know who their quarterback is going into a championship game playing a very good team. I mean, they don't know who their quarterback is. No one knows. And even if the young fellow Rodemaker can play, you got to be careful about, he would have just gotten out of concussion protocol. And if he doesn't play, which I don't think he is, you're starting a third-string red-shirted freshman quarterback that's taken, 5 snaps. And now he's going into a championship game, which just means they're going to run the football. And they have a good defense, going to have to lean on that. But I can't put a team without a quarterback. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. For the young fellow Rodemaker, I hope he's able to play. I hope he's okay. But this is a handicapping site, and we got to make good decisions. There's no way that I can bet Florida State when I don't know who the quarterback is, and it could be a redshirt freshman without a start under his belt, right? Can't do that. Not in the championship game. Maybe if they're playing, Jacksonville State in non-conference game, maybe. I'm going to go with Louisville plus 1.5 today.
So
Probably not even against Jacksonville State. The Gamecocks are like 9-3.
Well, I mean, but
Yeah.
if it's one of those non-conference games where the team gets paid to come into Florida State, you give them a start there.
Yeah, Florida
But
State paid Jacksonville State to kick their butts 3 years ago.
This is an ACC championship game, playing a legitimate team that has earned the right to be there, and that's Louisville. And you're just not going to beat him with a guy that's taken 5 snaps, and he's a redshirt freshman. So that's my take.
No hate on Jacksonville State here. I mean, they do that all the time. Like, they beat Power 5 teams constantly. Like, they just do. So if you watch a lot of football in the South, Jacksonville State has been given teams problems for years.
True.
Let's move on to the Big Ten championship here. Number 2, Michigan, after their big win against Ohio State, one of the most watched college football games of the year, something like 9 million viewers. That is the college football game. Everybody watches it. They're going to be playing Iowa. So that's interesting. Michigan's a 22-point favorite. Over-under here is 35. That's always the interesting thing with Iowa. Now, Nate, I think earlier in the week you saw something on FanDuel that had Iowa's over-under for I don't know if it was just a joke or if it was an actual line where their team total was just half a point.
Yeah, I think maybe it was for like a quarter or something.
Yeah,
that was
for
the second half.
Okay.
Second half.
I just want to interject something here and compliment Dan. I think it was 2 weeks ago. He bet the under. He told us to bet the under total on Rutgers, and it was 8. And I laughed at him. I'm like,
16 or
8?
something,
That's like a 3 field goals. He said, no, bet the under on Rutgers at 8. They scored 3 points. He won the bet. So right on that one, Rutgers.
Like I said, John, Piscataway, New Jersey is where offense goes to die.
They got a good defense up there. Rutgers, Iowa. What a game that was. Okay, so Dan, we'll start with you again. GodzillaOnes.com. You got the Big Ten. I believe you have a Big Ten championship up.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So take us through the Michigan-Iowa game here.
Okay, so for me, the best bet on the board here is probably Michigan team total over 29.5, because I'm not sure you should even mess with the overall total, because I'm not sure Iowa can even score. Like, we already saw Penn State shut out Iowa, and the 3 Eastern Giants have absolutely dominated the West. The West went 0-9 against Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State. Iowa managed 76 yards against the Nittany Lions. And we saw what Michigan did to Penn State. Michigan is clearly a better team than anyone Iowa's seen all year. I mean, Iowa's drive for 325, they came up over 100 points short, and Brian Ferentz is out of a job. So I don't think this game's going to be close. We saw this 2 years ago. Michigan smashed Iowa 42-3, and I think we might have a repeat here. So Michigan should cover the 22.5, and I think Michigan will get to their team total of 29.5 as well.
Nate.
I mean, I just don't see how you can bet on Iowa. The offensive stats just border on like the hilarious.
They don't.
They
border.
are.
They're
Yeah,
there.
I mean, it's just so bad, and they had like every reason. They had that funky contract, with the offensive coordinator who's Kurt Ferentz's son. So they had to hit all these benchmarks. They hit like none of them. They actively sort of just got worse. Like once they put all these sort of like expectations on them for yardages and points. I just don't see it. I mean, Michigan's not. I mean, Iowa's defense is good, but Michigan's gonna score on them. I don't think that they're just impenetrable force. So Michigan's gonna get points. They'll probably even just a touchdown a quarter gets us a cover here, because Iowa's just probably not going to score the ball at all. So I like Michigan.
Dad, you gotta like Michigan, right?
You can't. I have this philosophy. If you don't think the team can win the game, doesn't matter what the points are, don't bet it. There's no way that I was going to win this game. Remember, at the beginning of the season, I got a good memory. I picked Michigan to win the championship. And I remember Dan saying to me, the first 8 games, they don't play anybody. True. They won all those games. Now they are playing teams, and they're beating them. Penn State, Ohio State, etc. So Michigan's going to win this game. I'm kind of with, I think, Danson or Nate. I mean, the last time, what it was 42-3. Look, Iowa's got a great defense, but they're not going to score. And I don't know about the total of Michigan 29.5 or 20, whatever it is. I don't bother with that. I'm going to lay the 22.5 because they got to get 3 touchdowns and a field goal for me to win the bet. Because I don't see, unless they get a pick six, right? Or they get a fumble on the 5-yard line, I don't see this team driving and getting a touchdown. So they're likely going to score, what, 3, 6, 10 max, which means Michigan's got to score 33. I mean, that's 4 touchdowns, a couple field goals. I like Michigan here in this game. Lay the 22. Don't be afraid of it. And even if the score is, 6-0 at the half, don't get all wigged out because they're going to fall apart in the second half. Michigan's got to win this game big. They got to be able to get themselves in a position to maybe take on the big dog, as we all know. So I like Michigan here minus the 22.5. This is going to be an absolute blowout.
Yeah. So I just finished reading Cormac McCarthy's Blood Meridian, which is, if you don't know the novel, it's a book about how the West was forged in the 1850s down by the border and kind of all the chaos that occurred, all the sort of violence that occurred down there. It's an incredible novel, and everybody should read it if they haven't. But that's what this game reminds me of. It's just going to be a bloodbath.
What's
Just
the name of that, Jack? Again, book.
It's called. I'll text it to you. It's called Blood Meridian. I'll send you a copy for Christmas. How about
thank you, son.
there we go. Just
Don't forget.
Just found a good Christmas gift for it. I won't forget. I can't stop thinking about the book, so trust me, I'm not going to forget. But that's how I think this game's going to go. Going to be a total and utter bloodbath here for the Iowa Hawkeyes, and then we'll see what happens in the college football playoff. Dad, before we move on to some of the pretty much the other 2 big championships, we may talk about the American for a minute since Dan wrote it up. Tell us how you get so much great sleep at night and how you look so fresh every morning.
I know. Don't I look fresh as a daisy every day? I get up as soon as I get on TV at 6 a.m. I get all this energy. REM sleep. I'm not going to belabor this, guys. I've been saying this forever. I don't promote anything that I don't use or buy or do, right? And REM sleep, I just ordered. I just had, when Joe was here, I had to order him a 3-month supply. He takes it every night. And they have this Whoop thing that's called WHOOP. They put on their ankle at West Virginia, and they monitor the sleep. And that's like a big deal. And if you don't get the required sleep, which is like 9 hours minimum, they want you to get 10 hours a day. Then you got to do extra things like run extra sprints and things. Nobody wants to do that. So he sleeps 10 hours a day and uses it. I use it. But I take it 15 minutes before I go to bed, and I sleep like maybe and get in the deep sleep. Now, I only get 6:15 a night. 6 hours a night is about what I average. That 6 hours has got to be clean. Otherwise, I'm dead man walking by Friday. Right here I am on Saturday, up fresh. Go to healthycell.com. This is one of the best things you're ever going to do for yourself and your family. And it's not habit forming and all natural because it supports all 4 phases of sleep. Go to healthycell.com/Godzilla. Put a promo code Godzilla. You're going to get 20% off. REM sleep. Absolutely want to get that 100%. Get the 3-month supply. And it doesn't take 2 weeks. First night you take it, you're going to get up. Jack had one of his ball players. I'm sorry. I get the kids' names mixed up all the time. They all get mad at me. One of Joe's ball players came over on flying in for Pittsburgh. He stayed with us. I think it was Saturday night. One of the other pitchers, Chase, we gave it to him because he said, I don't have trouble sleeping. My team's always on me, the stupid whoop. I gave him one of those. He said, all right, I'll take it. He said, got up 10 hours later, said, oh my God, Mr. Fredericks had the best sleep I ever had. So he immediately ordered a 3-month supply. This stuff is magical and it's all natural. healthycell.com/Godzilla, promo code Godzilla. Don't deprive yourself. Do it now. REM sleep, REM.
And we want to thank Healthy Cell. I mean, they're a big supporter of us. So if you like the show,
they're great people.
Check the products out. Yeah. Let's move on to the Big 12 championship. Now we'll do about 5 minutes for the Big 12, 5 minutes for the SEC.
We skip the American
here. Well, we can do the American real quick if you guys want to. We got to go pretty quickly, but yeah, if maybe Dan, if you and Nate have some thoughts on on Tulane SMU. I really didn't want to skip it because I know we got a lot of Tulane.
Yeah, me
fans in
too.
here.
I got something on that.
Well, okay. All right. Let's do. We'll just have to do 2-3 minutes of each game here. That's fine. So we'll start with Tulane SMU. Tulane's a 3-point favorite here. Dan, you wrote this up on the website, so we'll start with you. Over under is 47. What do you think about the Tulane SMU American
Yeah, I
Championship?
did write this up, but I pretty much have to junk what I wrote because Preston Stone is out with a fractured fibula, and SMU's got to go with a redshirt freshman at quarterback, so that completely changes the equation, and I've got to go with the wave now.
I'm with Dan.
So-
I'm going with the wave. I loved SMU in this game all week. Good thing I put the bet in early, but you can't. Again, it's kind of with Florida State. You can't be betting quarterbacks that haven't taken snaps. And SMU, their whole game is scoring, and so you take their quarterback out. He's not going to play. Tulane has a legit defense, so I'm with Dan. I'm gonna go with the wave minus the 3.
Nate,
I like-
anything different there?
I like Tulane too, for the same reasons. I just don't trust SMU's redshirt freshman quarterback. So I think Tulane, they haven't looked awesome. They've struggled at times this season, but I think they still have enough to get this done, and get into a Group of 6 bowl, New Year's 6 bowl.
Yeah, and I mean, the line only moved a point. SMU was, well, actually, no, it's moved in the opposite direction, I think, because SMU was +4, now they're +3. So, I guess you could see some line movement. Otherwise, it seems like pretty good value on Tulane right
Yeah,
now.
I get that bet in. I get that bet in early because that line is going to go up now that it's confirmed that their quarterback is out. So I wouldn't hesitate on that. It's only going to go up.
Yeah, Dad, we know you're not one to hesitate on a bet.
No,
there.
I know. I put it immediately.
It's
And
pretty
never change
clear.
your bet either. Never change your bets. Bad juju, and don't bet against your favorite team because it's come back to bite you in the ass.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Really,
I mean, I should have been betting against my favorite soccer team. I could have retired by now.
yeah.
Union
Yeah,
Berlin,
you've had it.
I think we've lost like 11 in a row.
Yeah, that's like I saw something the other day. So the Pistons have lost 16 straight.
Yeah,
and it was something like if you put 100 on each Pistons loss and just carried over the winnings, you'd have made like 21,000 and like
we got snowed out
23
today.
weeks.
Can't lose.
You can't lose. There you go, Dan. Let's move on to Big 12 here. Oklahoma State, the Pokes playing Texas Longhorns. Texans are a 15-point favorite, over under 55.5. Always a lot of scoring in this game. Usually we'll start with Dan here. As always, Dan, what do you see in this game?
Yeah, I just don't think that Oklahoma State really belongs on the same field as Texas. I mean, the Longhorns, they have to make a statement here because, I mean, they've got that one loss, and they've got to get themselves into this college football playoff, and the only way they do that is by really impressing people. And I think that they're just by far the more talented team here. I don't think Oklahoma State is anywhere near their level, and I think Texas rolls.
Nate, you've got some Oklahoma State blood in you, but I don't know. I mean, you hate Texas. Can you, is this a game you can pick?
I mean, no. I'll be rooting for the Pokes always. My dad went to Oklahoma State, watched a zillion Oklahoma State games. But I think Texas has got to be the gambling play here. I mean, they're going to run up the score for the reasons that Dan talked about. They need to impress the committee. The thing that, Texas's big weakness is sort of their secondary. I don't see how Oklahoma State can really exploit it. I just don't think they have the passing game to be able to do that. Quinn Ewers is back for Texas. Their offense will be fine. They will feast on Oklahoma State's pretty poor secondary. That rates 83rd in PFF's coverage grades. So I think Texas just rolls here.
Dad, you like the Longhorns?
I tell you what, you go and tell your father that crack open a beer because he's going to love watching this game and he's going to love watching his Cowboys, Nate. I love the Cowboys in this game, plus 15. This is a super overlay. Screw Texas. I mean, it's the most overrated team going into this thing. It's all smoke and mirrors with these guys. Here's the deal, okay? Oklahoma State's got one of the best running backs in the game right now, Ollie Gordon, right? He's going to get a lot of yards, and they're going to put the game in his hands. He's going to eat up clock. That's going to drive the score down. But this is the thing about Texas, right? They get in the red zone, they don't score. They rank 130th in the nation. That's 130. That means they're like, that's like they're up there with Fairleigh Dickinson, who doesn't even have a football team. They rank 130th in scoring in the red zone. So this is like, 3 yards, field to dust, kick a field goal. Arthur Smith would love this team. He should probably be their coach. It's the same thing. The only teams worse in the red zone, get this. I can't even say this with a straight face. Louisiana Monroe and Kent State. When you're only ahead of them and you're playing the championship game and you got a late 15, Oklahoma State gets no respect. They move the ball. They get a couple 3 touchdowns here. Now Texas got to score what? 5 touchdowns in order to cover this bet. I think this is an upset. It's got it written all over it. I think you guys got this game upside down. I love the Cowboys plus 15. Upset special.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I spent a lot of time in Oklahoma a week ago, and I can tell you everyone in Oklahoma is down on the Cowboys. There's not a single soul in the state who I think believes the Cowboys can win this game. Although I was kind of in Sooner Country, so you never really.
You're just okay.
Yeah, you were in Sooner Country.
Yeah, probably.
All you guys with your home teams, you're always down.
Well, hold on.
You're down in Ole
Dad,
Miss. Dan's down in Missouri.
I know.
Nate's
I
down
know.
in
Hey,
Nevada.
Dad, I know you got a lot of narrative here, but we only have 4 minutes to get to the biggest game of the
right,
weekend,
ahead,
so
sorry.
let's save some time for that. Okay, UGA, Alabama, SEC championship game kicks off at like 3:00. So early game here. Georgia is a 4.5-point favorite. Another rematch. 2 of the best teams in the country here. Probably the best game on the schedule. Dan, we'll start with you. What do you see in the dog-tied game that you like?
I mean, somebody's going to be doing a documentary on this as to how in the world Nick Saban got 11 wins out of this Alabama team, because there's no way that Alabama should even be in the conversation for the playoff, but they're still here. And that honestly scares me. It feels like it's too many points for Georgia. The other thing that scares me, though, is Georgia has risen to the occasion all year when they've played really good teams. So I'm taking Alabama plus the 6.5, but it's really reluctantly.
Nate, you on the Tide here?
I want to like the Tide. I want to like the Tide, first of all, because my bar back at the bar that I work at went to Alabama and has a huge futures bet on Alabama to win the national title. So I'm pulling for my guy, Luke, first of all. Second of all, I think that Alabama's getting better. They started off and they were such a mess, and then Milroe gets benched, and suddenly he becomes, one of the best quarterbacks in the country all of a sudden. I think that ultimately, though, I think that I'll be rooting for Alabama, but I think the better bet is probably the over, either over 55.5 for the total game, or if you want to just bet the Alabama team total over 24.5. This Georgia defense has struggled to contain mobile quarterbacks. Jalen Milroe is certainly that. I think that he'll use his legs to sort of hurt this defense often. So I think that Alabama is going to get their points. I don't know. I just think this feels like more of a shootout than typical SEC games.
Dad, you got about a minute.
Here's where you go to DraftKings, okay? And if you hold a DraftKings account, go to it now, or if you don't, get in, put in your $5. This is their bonus football game of the week, right? So they're giving you a 50% profit boost here. Now, I bet Georgia. I love Georgia. I'd lay the 4.5. I'd lay 7. By the way, Dan, you said it was 6.5. Right now, it is 4.5.
It was when I wrote
it.
it.
So people are betting.
Yeah.
People are betting Alabama down. It's all you guys said. It's the Saban nonsense going on. He doesn't get on the field, okay? The dogs are on the field. This is the best team in the nation. They beat everybody. I don't see them getting beat in this game. But right now they got a 50% profit boost. So for instance, just for thing, I bet the money line at minus 185, right? But you get the profit boost, you get down to 135. So go ahead and take advantage of that if you're on DraftKings now. But dogs, I bet a minus the 4.5. I bet the money line. Dogs are going to win this game. It's not going to be close. I'm back to what one of you guys said earlier. I think it was Dan. Like, how is Alabama even in this game? How are they even in the conversation for the national championship? This is not that good of a football team. They should have got beat by Auburn. Dogs, baby, dogs.
Yeah, I like the dogs too. We want to thank Dan Angel for joining us as always. Dan, great job on working on these games this week. And as always, love having you on the show. Love talking college basketball with you. No one better in the country, really, to be talking some of these college basketball lines than Dan Angel. Find him on X, Twitter, I guess, at Dan Angel11 and Instagram at Dan.Angel11. You can find all of his writing at GodzillaWins.com. Thanks, Dan, for joining us. As always, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. See you next week.
Sounds good. See you.
Dan.
Coming up, James Tillman III going to talk some NFL with us. Then Mitch Rogers going to join us a little later. Don't turn the dial. Don't touch the screen. Stay on with us for the next hour in NFL coming up.
I got to get some Beard Vet coffee. Beard Vet, baby.
You're listening to Godzilla Wins on the John Fredericks Media Network. For a deeper dive without the jive, visit the website of winners, GodzillaWins.com. Let's get back to the show with the guys in the know, John, Jack, and Nate. It's Godzilla Wins on the John Fredericks Media Network.
And we are back here talking some NFL with James Tillman III to start off the weekend. Going to be doing the entire slate of NFL games. First with James, then with Mitch Rogers. He'll do the afternoon games and the Steelers. Want to welcome in James, senior writer for GodzillaWins.com, doing a bunch of football and a little bit of NBA. James, I want to ask you a couple questions before we get started. The first is, I don't think I've ever asked you this. Do you watch, because you love basketball, you watch a ton of basketball. So do you watch college, like men's college, or is it just the NBA, WNBA?
Usually I start keeping up with college, like once the NCAA tournament comes, because of my work schedule, I don't get a chance to see like a lot of collegiate games like during the season. So yeah, I get more of an opportunity to watch NBA and WNBA games more so than collegiate games.
Okay. Yeah, just I was just thinking, I was like, James is like a basketball nut. I wonder how much college basketball he watches. But what's funny about basketball, mate, I mean, we talk about this too a lot, is like you kind of have to choose. Like it's either you're gonna go all in on the NBA or you're gonna go all in on college, because you can't, if you just can't do both. Otherwise you don't do anything else. So yeah, a lot of college basketball. Talk about a lot of NBA. James does a great job writing for us. James, I was telling Dan, his articles doing great numbers. Some of your Bears articles have been doing the same thing, bunch of numbers. And listen, James, I want to congratulate you, because this week the Bears don't have to play football. So this is probably your greatest Sunday since August. I can see it on your face. You seem a little bit more, just relaxed than normal.
Well, let's go to last weekend. Let's go to last weekend, where you committed the ultimate sin in my book is you picked against your team. I picked the Bears. It was my best bet. They won the whole game. I got 3. You picked against your team. They won. You lost. Bad juju, baby. Don't do that. I was riding the Bears last week. Man, they can kick some field goals. I can tell you that.
Yeah, right.
they kick the ball through the arms.
It's not just me. Let me share this little tidbit with you guys. So we were out at Buffalo Wild Wings probably like a month and a half ago, and they had this thing like the Bears schedule. and they were doing like the wins and losses, right? So we were past like the game that they had lost to the Saints, and even these guys, they just stopped picking. It got to a point where they just stopped, recording the wins and the losses. So it's not just me, me by any means.
So, Toby Reithray, one of our writers at Godzilla Wins, he had the Bears last weekend too. And after the game, he emailed me and he was like, I feel sick. I can't, that was the grossest win I've ever had in football. So he didn't enjoy it either, but a W is a W. I believe he had that win, or it may have been another one, but I'm almost positive he was on the Bears last weekend. So let's move on to some football. We'll do pretty much all the games here. Dad, before we do that, though, Christmas coming up. We talked about that with Beard Vet. Tell people how they can get involved with MyPillow, which if you are looking for some Christmas gifts, you can't really get any better than MyPillow.
I mean, you're going to get the best gifts at the best prices. It's a great company, and it doesn't matter what you're doing right now. Up to 71% savings with promo code FUN. So all you got to do is go to mypillow.com, put in promo code FUN. You're going to get up to 71% off. Let me tell you some of my favorite products. Okay, number one, if you don't have these, why are you depriving your life of one of the greatest comforts for like $39? And that's My Pillows, My Slippers. You get your slippers there. Get them for your kids. Get them for your wife. Get them for your husband. These are so comfortable. I tell you what, I come home from work. Now I get there at 5. I get home about 5. So I put in 12 and a half hours a day. First thing I look forward to is getting my suit off, putting on a pair of sweatpants in Pittsburgh because it's cold, and putting on those My Pillow slippers, taking my socks off. It's like heaven on earth. Plus, they got the comforter. Plus, the towels. I travel now. My son travels with the towels on his baseball team. He puts them in his bag because he can't take the hotel towels. They suck. Get the towels. You got, and the comforter. Oh, my God. The comforter. I could buy 2 of them. One for me and Mom, one for the cat, right? So he's got his whole comforter. You got to buy this comforter. Everything they have in there, the great products, great price, get up to 71% off. And they've been a supporter of ours from the beginning. So help us out. Help yourself out. They got Christmas stocking stuffers and stuff like that. Just go to mypillow.com. MyPillow.com, promo code FUN, F-U-N, because it's fun. Promo code FUN, you're good to go. You're going to love this stuff. Whatever you do, get the slippers and get them today.
Let's talk a little Chargers Patriots here to start off the game. We always want to start off with one of the most dominating teams in the NFL, the New England Patriots. Always fun to talk about that dumpster fire. James, Chargers are a 5.5 point favorite. I don't know why they're not a 50-point favorite here. Maybe I'm not giving enough love to the Patriots. So Chargers are 5.5 favorite. Over under is 40. Neither team can really score that well. What do you think about the Chargers Pats?
Both of them, like you said, they're both pretty bad teams. The Chargers are slightly better. They are ranked dead last in total defense and dead last in allowing passing yards. So but then you look at New England, Mac Jones hasn't been playing well this year, and that might be putting it nicely. He's been pulled 4 times in favor of Bailey Zapp. So I think the Chargers are bad, but not quite as bad as the Patriots. So I'm going to go with the Chargers to cover here.
Nate.
So here's a little fun nugget that I found while I was researching this game.
Fun nugget.
Bill Belichick hasn't been a home underdog to a team with a losing record since week 2 of the 2001 NFL season.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
That was when they played the 0-1 Jets, who closed as 1.5 point favorites. Drew Bledsoe got knocked out of that game. Tom Brady came in. So it's been a while, but the Patriots are just so bad. Like, they deserve to be home underdogs here. The Chargers' struggles have been well publicized. People are asking how Brandon Staley has a job. They should be asking that. I think Brandon Staley probably asked himself that, like, how do I still have a job? I think everyone else is asking that in their organization, and yet they proceed onwards. They look bad. The Patriots are just in free fall, though. Who knows? I think if you walked into the quarterback room for the Patriots, said who's starting and how many snaps will you play after you do start, I'm not sure if Mac Jones Malik Cunningham, Will Greer, or Bailey Zappi could give you a definitive answer on any of it. They have 4 guys that are all just profoundly mediocre. I don't know how you bet on the Patriots here. The magic is gone with Belichick, so I think it has to be the Chargers. I don't want to bet on either team, but gun to my head, pick it's Chargers.
I saw some report that said, I think from a former player pretty close to the Panthers, maybe Cam Newton, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was someone else who said that David Tepper is trying very hard to pursue Bill Belichick to be the next Panthers coach next season.
That would be pretty on brand.
Yeah, it would be, and that's not like
fire to this organization.
Yeah, and it's not like it wasn't a joke. I mean, it was whoever it was. It was someone who was pretty close to Tepper, and he was like, "Yeah, that's the kind of home run there." Dad, what do you think about the Panthers? I'm sorry, the Chargers Pats game here.
Well, if the Pats were playing the Panthers, I'd probably bet the Panthers. So I'm going to go with the Chargers here, -5.5. I already put that bet in because I'm afraid the lines are going to go up. I'm with Nate here. This team is in free fall. They don't score. They don't play defense. They don't play anything. And they're at home. Home doesn't matter when you're this bad with no quarterback, no offense, no running game. They got nothing. This is really a disaster that Belichick's got on his hands. You know, the funniest thing of watching these games is the camera, whatever channels got it on, right? They love focusing on Belichick on the sidelines, right? And when he takes off his glasses and he rubs his face like this, I laugh my ass off every single time because I can feel the guy's anguish and pain. His team sucks. The Chargers cannot continue to lose these kind of games. So I don't like them on the road. I don't like them at home, but I'm going to go with the Chargers here, -5.5. They still got a shot to get in the playoffs. As bad as they've been, this is a must-win game for them. So I'm going to go with the Bolts. Play the 5.5 because the other team doesn't score. It's like that. What was it? 8 bet. That was a best bet ever. Bet the Rutgers total under an 8. Like I've never seen that in my life. They scored 3 points.
They don't score a lot. I saw a meme earlier in the week. There's all this stuff going on, joking about what Mac Jones' career will be next year, and someone put his picture next to a Remax sign, Mike Bovis from X, and said, "Hey folks, Mac Jones here. In my playing days, it was all about getting that extra yard. These days, I'm all about getting you the front yard of your dream home as the Tuscaloosa area's #1 Remax agent. Give me a call today." So, and I've seen Mac Jones as car salesman things too. So everybody having a lot of fun at poor Mac Jones's expense. Has not been a good year for the Patriots and for Mac there. So let's move on to the Lions at Saints, a game that I don't know. I mean, like I love watching the Lions, but the Saints, like I do not enjoy watching the Saints. First off, okay, so I got no problem with the Saints, no problem with New Orleans. I mean, I used to live there. Shout out to the Kingpin, my favorite place in New Orleans to watch a game. My favorite place to really go anywhere in New Orleans, and have a beer or two. It's an incredible atmosphere. New Orleans in general, they love the Saints. They shut down on Sunday. So nothing against New Orleans. I just don't enjoy watching this team. And I don't have Red Zone this year because I got DirecTV and YouTube TV swiped in and got Red Zone. So I'm in the New Orleans market. So I'm just forced to watch this Derek Carr just like meltdown every single week. It's horrible. Every week I turn on the Saints. That's all I watch. And I'm a Falcons fan, so it's even worse because the Falcons and the Saints hate each other. So now I got to watch the Saints. I can't watch the Falcons, and the Falcons suck too. But they're in first, and so it's been a horrible. Every Sunday is just the worst 3 hours of my life trying to figure out how to follow the Falcons on the ESPN box score, and then watch Derek Carr scream at Chris Olave as he throws a ball straight into his face mask. So I wouldn't exactly say it's been the best NFL season for me. Lions are a 4-point favorite here, traveling to New Orleans. Over-unders 47. James, will start with you. Or, Dad, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm going to go first because here's what I'm going to buy this weekend. Because you have DirecTV, and you've got the DirecTV, and you've got YouTube Live. I'm going to buy the football package. It's going to cost you like $89 for the rest of the season. I'm going to buy that for you today, right? Even though they're going to be kicking and screaming. I'm going to get there for you today. It's like a little Christmas present. Come early so you don't have to be saddled watching the Saints. Because after I just heard that, I'm like, I feel so bad for my son there. So I'm going to buy that so I can get it for $89 for the remainder of this season. You go to YouTube Live TV when I buy it. I'll send it to you, all the logins, and then you can watch whatever game you want. That's what I have right now. It's only $89. So I'm going to do that for you today because I love
And look,
my son,
YouTube,
and
if you're
I felt bad for you when you were
that's right.
saying that. You got saddled with the Saints. I'm going with the Lions
and look,
-4. This is my best bet of the week after the stinker they laid, the stink pot game on Thanksgiving Day. You know, they've had 10 days to think about that, getting schmalshed at home by the Packers, where they made Jordan Love look like Joe Namath. It's unbelievable. They got spanked in that game. I think they come back here, they get their act together, and laying forth with the Lions is tough. All these games seem to go down to the final play, but I'm going to go with the Lions here. The Saints are just a horrible football team. Lions -4.
James, you want to lay the 4 here?
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of what you guys said. Not to pile on about the Falcons, but the Saints. Sorry, they're NFC worst, 2-8 against the spread in their last 10, and they are 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 as home underdogs. So, and then we have Detroit, like you guys mentioned, are coming off that 29-22 loss against Green Bay. But they are 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 road games, and they're averaging 29 points per game during that stretch. And I came across a nice little stat here. It said that dating back to last December, Detroit has followed up each of their losses with pretty solid victories. As a matter of fact, they're averaging 20.8 points per game coming off losses. So I'm going to go with the Lions here to cover.
Lions -4. Yeah. Listen, I started reading Moby Dick, which is about a gazillion pages, and one of the reasons is because I'm sitting here on Sunday watching the Saints, and I just started thinking, let me just read Moby Dick instead.
Oh, you're reading Moby Dick while you're watching the Saints game?
I mean,
I got to get you that
yeah.
like as soon as we get off the air.
Well, look,
Herman
shout out
Melville.
to
That's like the book is like 1,500 pages, like this big.
yeah, it's like 100. It's like 135 chapters. Look, shout out to Herman Melville, Moby Dick. I didn't know it was this. I mean, obviously it's an amazing sort of work of literature, but being an English major, I don't know. I'd never read it, and man, it's hilarious. I didn't know it was so funny. I mean, I know it's a good book and sort of unlocks the secret truths of the world here, but I didn't know it was hilarious. So shout out to Moby Dick. Been reading that instead of watching the Saints play on Sunday.
So sad.
Let's move. Yeah, it's actually been probably better than watching any football really, but definitely the Saints. Let's move to my favorite team, the Falcons. First place Falcons here, playing the Jets. They're a 2-point dog on the road against Tim Boyle and the New York Jets. Nate, we'll start with you. You like the Falcons here? I mean, what do we do with this game?
I mean, I don't know.
The under?
The Jets are terrible. I mean, Tim Boyle's getting the start again. But the Falcons aren't setting the world on fire at quarterback either with Desmond Ridder. Has not been great. He's actually been better at home than on the road. His splits are kind of weird, which kind of leads me to my pick, I guess, which is Desmond Ridder sucked every time he's left Georgia. So I think that the play has to be the Jets, but I mean, God, it's so ugly. I mean, +2. When I bet it was +2.5. I just went ahead and laid the juice to get it to +3. Like a field goal felt right, but I just don't know if the Jets should be home underdogs here to the Falcons. I mean, I just don't see it. So I think the Jets are probably the play. I think the under is probably also a fine play. I just can't see either offense getting going here. So yeah.
James, you want to take Tim Boyle at home?
No, I'm actually going to go. I'm not crazy about this game either. I mean, I'm thinking the Falcons are going to cover, but my thing here is with the under total. Looks like it's hit for 12 of the last 17 games for Atlanta, and then it's hit for the Jets in 5 of their last 6 games and 4 of their last 5 against NFC opponents. So I'm going to, think the Falcons will cover, but my preference here is going with the under total.
Dad, you gotta like the
No,
Jets, right?
I got a couple best bets here, and it ain't the Jets, right? You know who I'm going to bet? I'm going to
Wow.
lay 2 points with the conference leading team that is going to make the playoffs and win the conference, the Atlanta Falcons. You guys can say what you want about Atlanta. I know they suck. I don't like Chuck Smith either. But look at the standings. They're in first place in their division, in their conference. They're going to win the conference. And I only got to lay 2 points against a team that doesn't score points at all. So basically, look, this is Chuck Smith's dream, right? Run the football, hand it off 150 times, kick 6 field goals, win the game 18-7. I mean, this is like this game was made for Chuck Smith. He probably saw this on the schedule, and he's like, wow, if there's ever a game that I could actually win with my style of football, I kick 5 field goals and win a game, it's this game. Chuck Smith, kick 5 field goals, 15-6. Atlanta, my best bet of the week.
Just to clarify for those that might be confused at home, by Chuck Smith, John means Arthur Smith, the head coach
Arthur
of the
Smith,
Atlanta
you know,
Falcons.
yeah.
I don't know who Chuck Smith is.
Chuck Smith is
Arthur Smith.
Chuck Smith is probably wondering the same thing. He's like, I don't have anything to do with the Falcons, dude.
Look.
Right, yeah.
It's,
Chuck Smith,
I'm a senior citizen.
Throwing every
so
Chuck Smith under the bus right now.
Uh-huh. Yeah, look, Chuck Smith, if you're listening, we're sorry.
Arthur Smith.
We don't mean to slander your name by saying you can't coach a team to a victory via touchdowns there. The Eberflus Smith coaching tree should be one that we should really look for in the future if you want to just have a bunch of people kicking field goals all day long. Nothing wrong with winning a game via field goals, I guess. Now, Nate, don't you have a futures on the Falcons to win the division?
I do, yeah.
That's right. So maybe you'll cash that ticket. You'll
you're
feel
in
gross.
great shape.
I'm gonna feel just
Nobody going to
horrible
beat them in
doing
that division, and they're going to the playoffs. And I tell you what, they could beat somebody.
They're going to host.
Round of the
They're going to
playoffs.
host a
Playoff
game.
game.
15-7.
Yeah.
They're gonna host the
Mercedes
playoff game and lose by
Benz
4
Stadium.
touchdowns.
Yep, that's right. Falcons hosting the Lions on Wild Card Weekend or something like that. Jesus. Okay, let's move on to the Colts at Titans. Okay, here we go. Another game everybody's been on the edge of their seat about. So glad we get to talk about this for a couple minutes here. 2 teams that are just dominating the headlines. Let's see. The Colts are a -1 favorite. 42.5 is the over-under. We'll start with Dad here, rabid Titans fan. No team he hates more than the Colts because of all those years Peyton Manning just owned his team. You can't see clearly when talking about the Colts, so go ahead and tell us why the Titans can win this game
Colts,
and their
screw
+1 spread.
Minshew or whatever his name is. Listen, nobody's beat us in Nashville this season. We're 3-0 in Nashville, right? We got 4 wins. We're 4-0 in Nashville. But we got 4 wins, all at home. We're going to win this game at home. Look, Levis is getting better every single week. The Colts are going nowhere. They don't have a quarterback this season. He's out for the season. At home, Titans. Actually, let's just say this. Actually, if they win this game, they're actually back. You know when they do that thing on Fox or whatever it is, the CBS when the game's on, and they put division winners, wild card leaders, and then in the hunt. We win this game, we're going to get that little column that says in the hunt. Titans 5-7. This team could spin off a couple more wins and sneak into a playoff game because everybody else in the AFC sucks. Who are they battling? San Diego. I'm going to go with the Titans here at home in Nashville, where they play very, very good football. -1, and they're fired up. This is my second best bet of the day. Atlanta Titans, 2 best bets. I'm going to have a good day Sunday, and I've been hot. So I love Tennessee here.
Nate,
win this game handily.
Nate, Will Levis, I do not think has been improving every
I don't
week.
think he's His best week was his first week. That's when John was like, the future is now. Will Levis or whatever when he's buying his jersey. And then he's sucked ever since then. He's just gotten worse. So I don't know if that's true.
No, he's not gotten worse. He's
John's also the same guy that was like, we're
he's
just
not losing
games.
games. He's managing games. He's doing a better job.
Hold on, let Nate talk. Let Nate talk.
You were looking towards the 2028 like last week, and now you're like, oh, we're in the hunt for a playoff game, baby. It must be exhausting in your mind.
Yeah, I don't know what goes on in there. It's got to be a dark place sometimes. Nate, can the Titans cover?
I think so. I think they can cover just because this is a pretty good matchup. Not for any of the reasons John said. Because like I think that it's a good matchup because Jonathan Taylor's out for the Colts. So that hurts their running game. It's probably going to make them one-dimensional. They're probably going to have to throw the ball a lot. Yes, Titans' pass defense is pretty suspect, but this is Gardner Minshew, who's probably not built to exploit it. On the other side of the ball, Colts are a sieve. When you run against them, that's all the Titans can really do effectively on offense anyways. This is matchup-wise, I think this just favors Tennessee.
James.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Titans here as well. I have a stat in front of me. I know that at one point, Indy had won like 22 of the last 27 between these two teams, but they're 1-5 against Tennessee against the spread in their last 6 games. And then I came across another stat that's stating that Tennessee has won 7 of its last 9 home games as an underdog. So I think that's pretty. I think that's pretty impressive. So I'm going to go with the Titans here.
Let's move on to the Dolphins Commanders. Dolphins are a 9.5-point favorite. Big spread here. Dolphins have had a great season, and the Commanders, I don't know, they looked okay, then they started imploding. Now they're firing everybody, and they suck again. So, Nate, we'll start with you here. Give you the spotlight for the Dolphins Commanders. Do you like anything in this game? I mean, if it were me, I don't think I would touch it.
I think that I don't want to touch a side. Who knows what the Commanders are going to look like? I mean, the defense can't be worse than it was with Jack Del Rio, but I'm not sure how much better it can be either with all the talent they traded away before the trade deadline. So, I mean, my big handicap here is that Miami's defense is getting better. I don't know if I think Washington will struggle against them, particularly against Miami's pass rush. I think the under is probably the best bet. I think that we're still getting these sort of inflated totals for Miami based on some of their early season fireworks. 49.5 just feels way too high. I just can't see a scenario where Washington scores enough to be able to make this total go over. I mean, maybe Miami just does it on their own, but I don't think so. I think this 49.5 is just too high. It's the highest total on the board. It just seems too high to me.
James, you want to touch a side?
I think Miami will cover. Commanders haven't been all that great to me this year. I'm looking at Miami. They're 10-4 against the spread in their last 14, 5-1 in their last 6 week 13 games. And I'm looking at Washington. They've allowed 35 points per game during their 3-game losing skid. And they've given up 36.5 points per game in their last 4 home games. So based on those metrics, I'm going to go with the Dolphins here, even though it's a pretty large spread. I think they should be able to cover against the Commanders.
Dad, you've never been afraid of a large spread.
Easy cover. Dolphins here. I can't believe it's only 9.5. It ought to be 15. This team is this Washington team is like a clown show on wheels. They fired Jack Del. They fired the defensive coordinator after that debacle on what was it? Dallas scored 100 on them or something. I mean, they fire him. Riverboat Ron's going. They're going to get a new GM. This is like when I picked Cal last week over UCLA. Kind of the same thing. Teams playing out the string. All the coaches are going. Everybody's going to be new. This guy, this new owner, he's like, welcome to like buying a crap football team. Scrap that. Buying a crap football team for $1 billion, and now you got all these problems, and you got front office issues. This team is a complete and utter catastrophe right now. The Dolphins are winning every week. They're getting better. As Nate said, their defense getting a little bit better. 9.5, lay it, and laugh your tail off at halftime. Dolphins, big time.
Big win for the Dolphins. One more afternoon game I want to talk about with James here. We're going to go Broncos Texans. This is a game that I think I want to start with Nate because he's been all over the Texans. CJ Stroud looks like the real deal. And, I don't know. I mean, the Broncos, they're like serviceable, but Texans are a 3-point favorite. I don't know, man. I mean, we'll just start with you, Nate. I don't know if I think the Texans can cover. I think they'll win the game, but they don't seem to cover these spreads.
I mean, I'm so all in on the Texans. I just blindly bet it. It was like the first pick I put in for when we got that new picks tracker on the website on Godzilla Wins. I mean, I don't love it minus 3.5 either, but I can't justify the Broncos. I mean, the Broncos are riding. They have the longest winning streak in the NFL, which is hilarious. But it's taken a lot of luck for that to happen. Texans, I mean, last week's loss was hurt a lot in terms of them being able to win the division. But I mean, there's still. Who would have thought that we'd be having a conversation where both of these teams are looking like playoff teams? They're both tied for the 7th seed in the AFC right now. It's just the NFL is weird. I guess the Texans though, just because I can't see clearly with them.
Well, I could have seen this because before the season started, I said the Broncos were a good futures pick for a playoff spot. So, and you guys all laughed at me. You said that the Broncos suck and Sean Payton is like washed up and Russell Wilson is like horrible. So, I saw this coming. I mean, they had all the makings of a good team. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't think you are either, but I mean, they're still winning games. So, I mean, just like your Falcons future, this one could cash too. You just never know. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but maybe they can sneak in the playoffs. James, you like the Texans here, like Nate?
I'm going with the Broncos, and like you guys, the way that they started out, I didn't think we'd be having a conversation about them potentially being in the playoff hunt, but courtesy of that 5-game winning streak, they're right there. I also noticed that during this streak, they have gotten off to pretty fast starts, outscoring the competition 61-33 in the first half during this 5-game winning streak. And I'm also looking at Houston, 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 overall, and 2-6 in their last week 13 games. So I am going to go with the Broncos in this one.
Dad, no way. I don't know. You hate both these teams.
Mom says, tells me something all the time. She's been telling me this for years. She says, "You're stubborn, but you're not stupid." And I never kind of knew that's like a backhanded compliment. It's kind of like when I leave for a trip and she says, I say, "I'm gonna miss you, honey." She says, "Absence makes the heart grow fonder." She's been saying that for 30 years, and finally, the little guy Joe said, "Dad, do you actually know what that means?" Like, that means like she likes when you leave, like you're not getting it. So look, I'm stubborn, but I'm not stupid. I don't know how Sean Payton has done it. They have problems now with Von Miller, but I'm going to change my position here because there's nothing like a string of W's. The guy's winning games with this team. I don't know how the hell he's doing it. And he's got Wilson playing like a halfway decent quarterback. That defense is now playing. They've always been good. They had that 70 that Miami put on them. You now got to look at Denver. They got a what a 5-game winning streak. I don't know how they're winning, but they're getting the W's. And like Tillman said, the Texans just are not covering. This is a really, really dangerous game for the Texans. Denver coming in here, flying halfway across the country to Houston. But I like Denver in this game. I think they're going to beat them, and I'm going to take the 3 or 3.5, whatever it is. I hope it goes up to 3.5. But it's the first week I'm going to bet Denver.
I remember during COVID, during the lockdown, you called me and you're like, this is amazing. I'm at home I get to spend time with my family. My family's so excited to have me here. We're doing all these fun things. We're being so creative. This is just going to be really transformational. And then like 2 months later, you're like, yeah, I'm back on the road. They told me I had to leave. So I guess absence does make the heart grow fonder.
Mom said, "Hey, what you need to do is do a tour. Go to Georgia, go to your station there. Tell them you need to open up the state of Georgia. Go there for like a couple weeks, meet some people." They threw me out. So yeah, absence just makes the heart grow fonder. I'm good in small doses.
You're terrific in small doses. Dad, we want to, before we let James go, we want to remind everyone in Virginia how they can get involved with Rosie's Gaming and Emporium and Casino. Can you tell everyone how anyone in Virginia can get involved with Rosie's, the best casino in the state?
Just go to rosiegaming.com. You're going to love Rosie's because they got the biggest jackpots. They got the biggest payouts. As simple as that. Plus, it's fun. F-U-N fun. They got a marketing director. This guy's name is Nate Mize. He's in charge of all these things. Nate's just has got there and said, I'm going to create a culture of fun. And that's what it is. It's fun. The drinks are great. The food is great. The atmosphere is great. They get all of them got an OTB. They're all over the state of Virginia, but the jackpots are humongo. And that's the main thing. We got a bunch of winners coming out from all over the state that are really so much fun. I'm just going to give you a quick couple of them here so you can get a little feel, because they're all over. In Vinton, outside of Roanoke, lucky winner won 130,000 on a $5 spin on triple cherry pop game. In New Kent, my favorite location, a lucky winner won 65,000 this week on a $2.50 spin at Ultimate Firelink. In Richmond, right by our studio, right, a lucky winner 38,000 on a $5 spin at Big Spin Win Game. And then my favorite game in Hampton, another winner 43,000 on a $3 spin on the Cats game. That's my favorite. I love the Cats game. All the locations are there: Northern Virginia, Hampton Roads, Richmond, Southside. You got it. New one in Emporia. Just go to rosiesgaming.com, and have fun.
Yeah, I mean, I was telling someone about the time when you did the show from like the diner or like the little breakfast area at Rosie's. Remember that was maybe like 6 months ago or something. You were down there at Rosie's, and I got to get up there. Looks like a lot of fun. So if you're in Virginia, please go visit Rosie's. Tell them we said hi. They're just a lot of fun, really incredible. James, we want to thank you so much for joining us today. Always good to see you. Enjoy your weekend without the Bears, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.
All right, take care. We're going to welcome in now Mitch Rogers, senior Steelers beat writer for us here. He's also going to be picking some other games for us as well starting this week. Really happy to see his articles really taking off, Mitch. I mean, I'm serious about that. Like, the numbers that your Steelers picks have been doing have just been really, really incredible. And it's not surprising because they're really good. And you have, such a good handle on the team, and you're a really great writer. So we're really happy to have you on the team, and I'm glad to see everybody reading your stuff and excited to see you pick some more games.
Yeah, I know. And I love piggybacking off of the popularity of the Pittsburgh Steelers themselves. So it's, I mean, they from the 70s on, their popularity probably eclipses mine just a little bit, but I'll take it and roll with it for sure.
So
and
Mitch,
I appreciate it.
I had 4 tickets on the 50-yard line. So
I
I think it was on Wednesday afternoon. I'm sorry, AM, like in the 8 o'clock, in the 9 o'clock hour. I gave them away on air. I said the first 2 callers will get two tickets each. I didn't get through with the sentence, and we had 2 people on hold immediately. Boom, gave them away. In one in Pittsburgh because I got stations there. The other one in the Ohio Valley. It was like within 10 seconds. I had callers immediately, and then there was a bunch of people that they were after that. We couldn't do it, but their popularity is something else. There is Steelers Nation is real.
I lobbied hard. I lobbied really hard. My boss, AKA my wife, she nixed it. We got too many things going on this month.
Happy wife, happy life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. NFL's so tough because especially if you don't live in the city, like it is so hard to go to a game. And even the games there, it takes forever to get there. I mean, you want to tailgate. I did Ole Miss. I did the season tickets last year for all the Ole Miss games. And I thought about doing it this year. It's not that expensive. It's just college football. I knew we were going to have a good team, even though I, out loud said we suck. I mean, in my heart, I knew we'd be pretty good. And I couldn't make it work because I thought it's all Saturday. I mean, it's literally takes me an hour to get there. You park, you're doing the tailgate thing for a while. Then you watch the game. The game seems to take forever. I mean, even when they're, the most amazing games ever, it's still like, geez, it's like 6 o'clock now. Then you want to wind down. All of a sudden, it's a whole day thing. So it can be tough to get to some of these games, especially if you don't live, like directly kind of.
And you got to feel for it. I live on the Virginia side of the Beltway, and for Commanders fans that have to go to Landover, Maryland, I have a friend that's going with his buddy just to tailgate. And I'm like, you're nuts, because it's an hour drive there, and then the traffic, and there's nothing in Landover. So it's awful, right? I feel bad for Commanders fans. they have the worst experience ever.
That's not
that
the only reason
stadium
you should feel
sucks.
bad for
It's
Commanders.
awful.
That is got to be the worst NFL stadium ever even conceived. First
If you
of
don't
all,
have if you're not in the cigar bar executive level,
forget
it's not fun.
the stadium itself is horrible.
Yeah.
You can't get there. You can't park. You got to walk like 4 miles. You can't get out. That's what I mean. It's just they need to get out of there. They need to go back to RFK downtown DC. When Trump gets there, that's what he needs to do. Say, hey, we're going to invest in RFK Stadium, bring Washington back, spend the money. You're good to go.
I saw Pink Floyd in '94 at RFK, my first concert ever. Bring it back, baby. Bring it back.
RFK. What did you keep calling the Philadelphia Stadium? The Vet or
Yeah, the
whatever
Vet.
that they blew up in 2004. You're like, oh, the Pittsburgh or the Phillies
Vet.
are tough to play in the
Yeah,
Vet.
the
And
Vet.
Dan's
They
like,
always
yeah,
play in the
like
Vet. I mean, they changed the name, but
2001.
it's always to me, it's always the Vet.
No, they blew up the stadium. They didn't change the
I went
name.
to
No, they blew up the Astrodome also.
I went to a DC United game at RFK. It was probably like 5 years ago, right before they blew it down. I felt like I was in Mad Max. It was like a blast from the past. It was crazy, but that stadium was awesome. And when it would get rocking, I wasn't a Redskins fan, but I always went.
You got to step over the rats, though.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Those old stadiums are fun because they're unsafe. So like when you are in the stadium and it's loud, like you can feel it on the cement, like where you're standing is shaking. That only happens in stadiums that are almost going to fall over. So it can be a lot of fun. Let's talk Cardinals traveling to Pittsburgh this week. I don't know. I mean, we love talking the Steelers here, but I don't know if I think the spread is 6.5. I don't know if they're a 6.5 point favorite over anybody. I mean, geez. So Mitch, we'll start with you. Over under 41. Just give us your overall take here on the Steelers.
Hey, it's December football, and if you love Tomlinisms, the best Tomlinism phrase of all time came right before their 2008 run where they beat the Cardinals in the Super Bowl, where he unleashed hell in December. Right? This is December football. Steelers. I haven't seen the Steelers favored by 6.5 since they were 11-0. I don't even know if they had it then in 2020. So it's been a long time. But one thing they have, with the new offensive coordinators taking over, their offense had over 400 yards. They only put up 16 points, but they left a lot out there. They could have put some more points up there. Why I'm confident that they can cover this and they will cover this is you have the Cardinals. They're 0-6 on the road this year. And also it's the Steelers running game that has really come on strong, averaging 186 yards in the last 3 games. And I think that plus their defense is going to allow them to have their first blowout victory since the Cleveland Browns in like 2020. That's how long it's been since they've won by more than 2 touchdowns. I think they win big here. I think Pickett has an okay day. That offense, they're going to have tape on it. They're going to know they're going to throw over the middle of the field. They know they're going to go play action, So I don't think there's going to be this, Pickett's just going to be this, 400-yard bomber. But I think the running game and the consistency and no turnovers, if they do that, they'll blow them out.
Dad, this is why I know you got to love Mitch, because he goes all in on his team just like you
unabashed.
Do. I think he thinks very similarly to the way you think when it comes to your home team here, your favorite team. So we'll go to you, Dad. You think the Steelers can cover 6.5?
No. I love Mitch though because he gets it right. Right? You get bad juju, man. Don't do it. Right? It'll bite you in the butt. Besides, you feel awful. They win, you feel bad because you lost money. They lose, you won the bet, but then you feel bad because they lost. It's like it's just a no-win, ugly way to live your life. Oh, don't do it. I'm going to take the Cardinals here plus 6.5, not because I think they're going to, they're 0-6 on the road, but I can't lay 6.5 on this Steelers team. I'm sorry. I mean, I saw them play now, 2 times? I was at 2 games. Good team, solid defense. Titans should have beaten them at home. 6.5. First of all, that means I think Cardinals score 17. That means that Pickett's got to put up 4 touchdowns? Forget about it. He's not going to do that. This is going to be another one of those, 18, 3 field goals and a touchdown, 16-7, 16-10. It's just not worth 6.5. And this is the other thing. Here's why you're going to lose. Arizona is going to score a garbage touchdown at the end of cover, and you're going to be pulling your hair out. Of course, I don't have any to pull out, but if I did, I would. Okay. So I'm going to go with the Cardinals plus 6.5, just because that is too big of a line than a team that does not score.
Nate.
It feels like a really big line. It almost feels like a trap. It feels at this point, it just feels like they're begging you to bet on the Cardinals, which I don't want to do. So I find myself increasingly sort of optimistic about the Steelers, I guess, and agreeing with Mitch. Cardinals defense is just so bad. I mean, they're bottom 3 in basically everything. And the Steelers are pretty good. They're gonna force the Cardinals to be one dimensional. They're not going to be able to run against the Steelers, which then means that this, the fate of covering relies on Kyler Murray's arm, which is not a way that I want to bet like money, like actual money. The idea of, just make Kyler win it with his arm isn't really like a recipe for success often with the Cardinals. So I think the Steelers probably can do enough here. I guess. I hate it, but like Cardinals just feel like a trap. So I guess the Steelers.
Yeah. I think you guys are probably right there, but we shall see. Big game there. We're going to get to a bunch of the games here. We're going to run through them pretty quick. Got about 15 minutes. Before we do that, though, I just want to shout out Healthy Cell this hour. One of the things I love about Healthy Cell is and we talk about REM sleep all the time, but Dad, they have a ton of products. It's not just REM sleep. They got Focus and Recall. They got Vegan Essentials if you're a vegan. They got Joint Health and Mobility. I really like Joint Health and Mobility myself because I get in the gym, quite a bit. I'll be throwing around some weight here, there. And I'm not getting any younger. I mean, I'm not exactly old, but one thing I've noticed in my 30s when it comes to weightlifting in a way that is a little bit more rigorous is that I have some, just joint issues. I mean, a lot of guys, when they get a little bit older and are weightlifting, they'll wrap their knees and they'll wrap their wrists and all sorts of stuff because those joints, you put a lot of pressure on them the older you get. And I mean, Dad, I know you used to weightlift a lot too, so I know you know this. And Joint Health and Mobility, I mean, it takes away a lot of that just joint pain that I feel while I'm weightlifting. I know you've done the same thing with them with the Joint Health. With you took a leave for maybe 30 years, and you don't have to do it anymore with their products. So you go to healthycell.com, you put in that promo code Godzilla, it's 10% off. So you get a lot for your money, especially with that promo code. Be sure to use it. Joint Health and Mobility. You can go right to healthycell.com and you'll see it right on their homepage. They got all sorts of things, but I love the Joint Health. I know Dad does as well. So let's move on to some of these games here. We're going to have to go pretty quickly. We've been slow to talk about some of them, but we can run through a lot of them quickly, especially the Panthers-Bucks. I'm not sure we have to spend a ton of time talking about the Carolina Panthers mashing up against Tampa Bay. We'll start with Mitch here. Mitch, Panthers are +5. They suck, so I don't know what to make of that.
Tampa Bay gets the Panthers again after they fired a coach 2 years in a row. That's just an insane stat. Reich is out, Tabor's in. Tampa Bay Bucks are going for a playoff spot. They can still win this division. It's an awful division. I'm going to go with the Panthers with the points. I think the Bucks win, but I'm going to go Panthers with the 6 or the 5, wherever it's at.
It's at 5 right now on DraftKings. It could be at 6 other places. Nate, what do you think?
I agree. I like the Panthers too. I mean, things can't be any worse. It's not uncommon in the NFL for teams to get a little bounce after they fire a coach, a head coach, especially like one that seemed to be mired in as much dysfunction as Frank Reich's very short tenure as the Carolina Panthers head coach. So I like him here. +5 seems fine. If you want to, have a little bit of fun on Sunday, maybe a little +190 on the money line. I think, it's not unreasonable if they win this game. If they're live, I think they could win this game. I mean, if they're just a dead team and firing Frank Reich doesn't matter, then whatever.
Yeah, Dad, I don't know. I think the Panthers suck. I don't think it matters who their coach is. I don't think they're going to get a bump. What do you think?
I agree with you 100%. You look at Bryce Young. We just got to start being honest here. It's like Joan Rivers said, can we talk? I mean, this guy, I'm not sure about him anymore. I'm not sure that he's going to be, the NFL stalwart quarterback. A lot of these guys, first of all, he's not very big. He's very skinny. I've seen him now a couple of weeks. I just don't know about him. And I don't think it matters who their coach is. I'm kind of with Nate, what he said earlier. Tampa can still get in the playoffs. Tampa can still win the division. And so they're going to put some points up at home. I don't care who the Panthers coach is. This team is really, really sorry. And I'm very concerned about Bryce Young. If I was a Panthers fan now, I'd be worried because he just doesn't look. He's making bad decisions. He almost looks like every play where he runs, he's going to get hurt. He throws interceptions. Guys, misses reads. I think this team is in a lot of trouble. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay minus the 5. I don't think this game's close.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be close either. Let's go Browns, Rams. Again, maybe like 30 seconds to each. We're just trying to catch up. I do want to spend some time on the Bengals, Jags here. So we'll do Browns, Rams. Browns are +4. Mitch, we'll start with you here.
Hey, John.
You
gave me crap about the pick last week. The Denver Broncos took down the Browns, and now you have the reverse bounce. Now they're not the darlings. Now they're 4-point underdogs. Our favorites +4. Yeah, you can't have that Denver reverse bounce. I'm going with the Rams. Put the Browns to bed. See you later, Flacco. Peace. Rams.
Nate, what do you think?
I mean, it's got to be the Rams. I don't know how you bet on Joe Flacco. I mean, he was retired a week ago, and now he's starting in the NFL. I mean, I just don't see how you can justify a Browns bet with all the injuries they have.
Dad, I think Joe Flacco might need a little joint health and mobility after this. What do you think?
All I know is I remember him beating the Titans in a playoff game when we were the home team and the number 1 seed. He threw a pass to win a game in the end zone 2 seconds after it should have been a delay of game. That's how he beat us. Screw him. The guy was sitting on his couch a week ago. Like you just can't get off your couch and go do football, right? Forget this guy. When I saw that he was starting, I thought it was a meme. Honestly, I'm like, oh, well, that's pretty funny. And then it's like, it's real. Rams.
Everybody liking the Rams. Okay, 2 more games to get through. We can slow down a little bit here. And 3 games, right? Niners, Eagles. This is the game I kind of wanted to slow down a little bit, though. Big game here. Eagles look like one of the best teams in the league. Niners, of course, early in the season, best team in the NFC, maybe still the best team in the NFC. They're 8-3, although we got the Cowboys, so don't want to shade the Cowboys, Nate. Yeah. Niners are a 3-point favorite here, traveling to Philadelphia. Mitch, we'll start with you again.
Yeah.
You like the Niners?
Yeah, the first time since 1970 Phillies or a 10-1 team is a road underdog. I mean, that's
yeah.
Where did this one start? This matchup is going to be amazing. I think this is the week that Philadelphia finally it catches up to them, all those 1-score games. This also could be the week that leads Philadelphia to go on a run because this might be the wake-up call they need. I think San Francisco's too tough. You're running into a buzzsaw. They're completely healthy with all their parts. Brock Purdy's playing like he did at the end of last year and the beginning of this year. So I'm going to go with San Francisco. I think it could be a potential championship rematch where Philly could take it later based off of this loss, but I think it's going to catch up to them. You can't win all those close games. I'm going to go with San Fran at -3.
The Broncos win all the close games. You picked them last week. That's all they do is win close games.
I picked the Steelers too. I know, and it's going to catch up to you sometimes. Eventually,
well, it hasn't caught up to Denver. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm going to get 3 points. I'm going to get Philadelphia. I'm going to get them at home. I'm going to get them in first place. I'm going to get that offense. Their defense is suspect in the middle. I've said this every single week, right? I get it. But they have a decent secondary. They got Kevin Bayard from the Titans. He's really made a difference on that team. Guy's a leader, never misses a tackle, intercepts a lot of balls. This is a letdown game here for San Francisco. They had the big win. They blew out Seattle. That was a blowout. And Seattle didn't even belong on the field with them as far as I'm concerned. So they're hitting on all cylinders. McCaffrey looks like, he looks like Dale Sanders. I get it. But I'm going to take the Eagles at home in 3. I think they win this game.
Nate.
I like the Niners. The Niners have got to be the play here. To sort of expand a little bit on what Mitch was saying about Philly playing close games, they're 7-1 in 1-score games. 5 of those games they played against sub 500 teams or at 500. So they've played a lot of close games, and they haven't been close games against elite teams. They've been close games against a lot of bad teams. So I don't think that Philly is like a sort of elite team. I think you look at the record and it's easy to think that, but San Francisco is clearly better. And this is a bad matchup for Philly. I mean, I don't think that Philly has the linebackers to be able to handle Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle on the San Francisco offense. So I think that this is just a tough matchup for Philly in terms of that. So I like San Francisco here too. I agree with Mitch.
So let's move then to the Chiefs, who are a 8-point favorite, or I think 6. That's right. So the Chiefs over the I don't have my information.
Packers.
The Packers, right? Chiefs over Packers. Yeah. So let's do a little bit on that. Then we'll save some time for Bengals Jags Monday night. This Chiefs Packers Sunday night game. Mitch, we'll start with you here. Chiefs in a blowout. I mean, Green Bay, I don't know. They haven't exactly stood up to the task with these teams that are much better than them.
I think we can get rid of that statement, Chiefs in a blowout. This is a different team. This team is a grinder. They don't have the weapons on offense to really pull away from teams. They rely on defense. They rely on like a nice controlled passing game. And the Packers are coming on strong. Outside linebacker Rashawn Gary had 3 sacks last week. If the Green Bay Packers play with some defense, they can keep this close. I think this is closer than people think. I think it's going to be 8 points. I'm going to go with Kansas City here, but I can see Green Bay making this close and Kansas City pulling away at the end and winning by 8 points. So I'll take Kansas City, but I think Green Bay is going to play them tough, and I think Green Bay is one of those up-and-coming teams, especially with their defense coming around.
All right, Dad, what do you think?
When you think a team can win a game and you're getting points at home, that's called the best bet. I think the Packers are going to win this game. Look at how they played on Thursday. They completely dismantled Detroit at home. They were like a 9-point underdog or something. I bet the Lions because I bet them every Thanksgiving. Never in the game, right? Teams sometimes come on at the end of the season. I mean, are the Lions defense that bad? Is Jordan Love that? Maybe this team has come on. I thought they were underperforming at the beginning of this season. That was a turnaround game for them. This is a very, very dangerous game for Kansas City. And I agree with Mitch 100%. This is not the Chiefs where they throw the ball around and score 48. They're grinding. They're running the ball. They're managing games. This has got upset written all over it in Green Bay at home. I'm betting the Pack +6.
Nate, 30 seconds, and we'll go to Monday night.
It's easy to overreact to Green Bay's big win against Detroit, as John is, but I mean, Kansas City's just I don't know. I just don't feel like Green Bay's that good. Kansas City is getting better. I think I'd prefer though Kansas City first half -3.5 rather than the whole game.
There you go. Well, first half play, then you don't have to worry about it after that. Just hit that and move on. Jaguars Monday night game here. Bengals Jags. Bengals without Burrow. 8.5-point dog in this game. Mitch, can we take the dog on Monday, or is this Jacksonville in a blowout?
I think this is Jacksonville in a blowout. I haven't seen a team that's more, the quarterback's more at the hip. I mean, without Burrow, the Bengals are awful, just terrible team. I'm going to go with Jacksonville in a blowout.
Dad, you like? Oh man, this got to be tough for you. I mean, you hate Jacksonville.
I hate them both, so I have no pick.
Yeah, you hate Cincy too.
First of all, I'm not going to lay 8.5 on a Monday night. But you can't bet the Bengals, okay? Like I can't advise you betting the Bengals because their whole team culture, everything about him is Joey Burrow. He's not there. This team is in big trouble. You know, Jacksonville streaking. You know, it's going to end up at game time. I think being 9.5. That's just a lot of wood on a Monday night. I don't really trust the Jags with that kind of wood. So in this game, I don't have a pick.
Dad, the rare no pick. Interesting.
Well, what if you're down like $2,000 and it's Monday night? You got to get it back. Jason.
No, it's not. He's gonna.
I mean,
if you got to bet the
Jason.
game, if you got to bet the game, you bet Jacksonville because I don't see Cincinnati winning. But I don't like the game. I don't like anything. I don't like anything about it. And Jacksonville has let people down a lot over the past 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So, you know, they've just let you down. You get on their train and then you get burned. So, you know, maybe they win this game by 3, but I certainly can't bet the Bengals. I don't even know who the quarterback is. Their whole team is based on a guy who's not there.
Nate,
yes.
One word. What you got?
Trevor Lawrence is terrible as a favorite. I think the best way to do this is probably just a primetime teaser. You tease Kansas City down to pick. You tease Jacksonville down to -2.5. All your problems are solved.
Got it.
All your problems are solved.
Oh my God.
That's how you, Mitch. That's how you.
That's
get,
how I get it back.
That's how you get it back.
I wrote it. I'm writing it down.
Sunday afternoon, you take a little primetime teaser. Love that, Nate. If you can write that up on the website,
Go to Daily
I would
Picks.
be
Go to
more than
Picks
happy.
and see our picks there.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to thank
Teaser.
Mitch for joining us the last 30 minutes here. Always happy to talk to Mitch. Mitch, where can people find you on social media?
At Mitch Rogers. If you type in Mitch Rogers on Twitter, Instagram, I'm Mitch Rogers 18 on everything.
All right. We want to thank Nate and Dad, as always, for joining us, and James Tillman III and Dan Angel. Should be a fun sports weekend. Got so much going on. We will see you next weekend. Bowl season coming up. College basketball, NFL heating up. Should be a lot of fun. Up next, you're in the